was around 4 years old when we moved to the farm, and my dad bought this farm from Gilbert and Belle Young, and it was dated March 2nd, 1931, and there's 125 acres, more or less, and it was recorded at the courthouse March 24th, 1934, for the sum of $3,300 for 125 acres.
Wow.
Yeah.
And a lot of people told him, thought he was going to go bankrupt.
And the garage that's down home was built from the garage that he had at Foster. He had that garage tore down at Foster, and the concrete blocks was brought out, and that garage was built down home out of those blocks by two local boys, Jimmy and Alfred Sellers. Remember them? Now they built that garage. There was 11 children in the Insko family.
Can you tell us anything about how it was? Which one were you in line, and how it was having that many?
I was the third
can you
daughter.
name them all in order?
Yeah. I was the third daughter. There was, I'm going to say their right names. Annette Fern, that's your mom, and Jewel Eileen, and me, and Junior, and Joyce Marie, Melvin,
Junior.
Ruthie, Norman, Johnny, Butch, Linda.
June. Did you say June?
Yeah, she
Yeah.
mentioned him.
So there was 11 of us.
What was his real name? Junior? Or
Lionel Anthony Jr.
He was
Okay.
junior after our grandfather.
What is your full name, and do you have a nickname?
Annette Fern Sturgeon, and I have a nickname, Toots.
Do you want to elaborate how you got the nickname Toots?
My dad, he nicknamed us all.
Oh. Okay. Did he ever, he just gave you a name and then it kind of stuck kind of thing?
Yeah,
Okay. That's interesting. When and where were you born?
December the 24th, 1924, at Foster, Kentucky.
So you were a Christmas Eve baby.
Right.
Wow.
What is your full name, and do you have a nickname?
Jewel Eileen Insko Biostorfer. And my nickname is Sally.
When and where were you born?
Foster, Kentucky.
Were you born at home, or
Yes.
what is your full name, and do you have a nickname?
My full name is Marilyn Louise Insko, and my nickname is Polly.
When and where were you born?
Well, I was born in Foster, Kentucky, and it was a two-story house. I was born June 16, 1928.
What is your full name, and do you have a nickname?
My name is Joyce Marie. I do have a nickname. I'd rather not.
If you don't, someone else will.
we already know. And
Oh well, if you
We
don't,
already
then
know
I
it.
don't have to tell you.
and it's no. Well, it's no wonder it didn't stick. I don't know.
Well, thank goodness.
Which
I
one
don't
was
know
your
what it
nickname?
is.
I really don't remember which one it was because
Good.
it didn't stick. So
It's even where the funny thing is, Ruth was just adamant. No one can know my nickname. And so that's what we already know. And she was like, nah, nobody can know. Nobody can know. And I
Do
said
you
that. I
know?
said, yeah, Midgie
I know
was
about
hers.
that.
I know.
You know mine?
I do. I
Oh,
said,
you do?
I do. I said,
I
what?
know them all, but I can't. The ones
But
that
I
didn't
even-
stick, it's hard
but-
for me to
but I
put
remember
with
telling
who it,
Ruth, I said, what?
like Mitchie, I wasn't.
I
sure
said,
it was
why
her.
would you? I said, why would you feel that bad about your nickname? I said, you could have been worse. You could have been Joyce.
That's right.
Wait, yours was like a boy's name, wasn't
Yes,
it?
it
or
was
something?
Billy Bob.
Billy Bob. Yes, so close. I knew it was something like that.
I see there's a Billy Bob's in Texas. It'd be famous.
That should be.
Do you know where that came from, or how he came up with that, or?
Just my father named everyone, apparently, a nickname for everyone.
I wonder where
And
Billy Bob came from.
I have no idea.
That's what I want to know, is where all these nicknames came from.
But he's the only one who called me that. Because I think he forgot my name a lot.
What is your full name and do you have a nickname?
Full name is Ada Ruth Sanders.
Your maiden name was Insko.
Yes.
Did you ever have a nickname?
Yes.
Would you like to share it with us?
No.
Okay. All right, can you tell us when and where you were born?
I was born February the 16th, 1938. Foster, Kentucky.
And I'm assuming in a hospital?
I don't think so.
Were you born at home?
You probably don't remember
That's
much.
not on the list. I was there, but I don't remember.
Well, you were very young.
What is your full name? And do you have a nickname?
Larry Randall,
Larry Randall.
and my nickname Butch.
Butch. All right. When were you born, Butch?
22944.
Okay. And
I think he's Larry in here.
Larry. Okay, so you're Larry in here. All right. Question: what is your full name, and do you have a nickname?
My name is Linda Sue. My nickname was Curly.
Who gave you that nickname?
I guess Daddy.
He pretty much gave everybody their nicknames.
Yeah, I think so, from what I understand.
Well, we were talking about that earlier. It was funny because it seemed like about half the time the nickname really stuck, and about half the time not at all.
Not at all.
What was the house like where you were born and lived?
Well, it was a small house and 2-story. And, you know, I just can't remember because I was so young when we moved away. And I remember we slept upstairs and we'd come down in the morning and we didn't walk down the steps, we slid down the banister. I remember that.
How old were you when you came to the new house?
About 6.
It was 2-story. And my mom said I was always afraid to go upstairs if she laid a row of oranges on the first step. I guess I like to creep up there sometimes. And she did that to keep me downstairs.
What was the house like where you were born and lived?
Well, you know, I don't remember a whole lot about the house. I know it was a 2-story house. And then up the street from there was a grocery store and a garage that my dad had. And I just really don't remember a lot about it because I was about 4 years old when we left there.
I was born in our farmhouse. I was the first one that was born of the family in the farmhouse at down the road here, Lennoxburg. I don't know what they call that. They moved from Foster, and that year I was born in the farmhouse.
It was busy.
It's just a big old farmhouse. Nothing modern in it. We had, for winter heat, we had a stove in the living room, a stove in the kitchen, and we burned coal or wood. And in the living room, we had a fireplace. And we didn't really go into the living room too much. Christmas, we always had a fire going.
It was a big old house. had tall ceilings and big, tall windows. Not a lot of rooms, but they were all big rooms. It was just nothing fancy. With an outhouse.
All right, what is your earliest childhood memory?
I remember when we lived at Foster that my grandma and grandpa lived around the block. And I remember that my mom would start me out. And then when I got around there, well, I went in their house. It was just walked around.
Well, I can remember Toots and me would go around to they would send us around to the post office. It was, I guess, a small block. It wasn't like a big city block or anything. It was just real, everything was closed in there. And we'd have to hold hands and take off and go to the post office.
I don't remember too much about Foster, but when we moved to the farm, well, I had been sick when we left Foster. I had double pneumonia, and I give them all a hard time. And when we moved to the farm, well, that house was so big down there, and when I went in, I wouldn't go in a room by myself because I was just scared, and I thought somebody was in there and they was going to get me.
Well, I remember going to my grandma Insko's house. I must have been pretty young then. I guess that's probably my first memory.
My earliest childhood memory was when I was 6 years old. And I can remember going to Western school, the first grade, and I was looking out the window at the first grade sharpening my pencil because the pencil sharpeners were in the windowsill. And I could look down the road and see my house, and I was so homesick. I did not want to stay when I was in the first grade. Now I was 6 then because we didn't have kindergarten then. So
I think we remember my dad, and I was probably around 8 or 9 years old, and I remember I got a spanking one time for messing around with the truck.
okay.
And that's, I mean, at that age, that's about the earliest. I was 10 years old when he died.
Oh, okay.
I know it's kind of hard, I guess. It'd be kind of a toss-up between running after my daddy and playing with Butch at the house there because I guess everybody else was in school, so it was just me and Butch. And then, I don't know, maybe after he was gone to school, because I can remember running after my daddy all the time. When he'd go out, I wanted to go too.
Who was the oldest relative you remember as a child? And what do you remember about them?
Probably my grandma Insko. I remember having to walk up this steep hill to her house. We had to park at the bottom and then walk up the hill.
I guess my grandmother Insko, and both my grandparents, I guess, my grandmother Insko and my grandfather Insko, I remember them. And not well, but I do remember them. And I also remember my grandparents on my mother's side, Penguins.
Well, I've been thinking who the oldest relative was, and I think it'd be Grandpa Insko. And I don't remember a lot about him because he was sick a lot. And I just remember him being in bed when we went to see him. But I remember Grandma Insko. And she was just a little bitty thing, but she was a hard worker. And I don't know how she got everything done that she did. because she took care of him, and she raised a garden, and she milked a cow, and she had a goat, and she had strawberry patch, and she had chickens, and so she cooked, from her garden. And when we went over there, well, she would cook dinner for us sometimes on Sunday when Daddy'd take us over. And I remember best of all, she had these little tiny biscuits and gravy. It was good.
Well, this wasn't the oldest, but my Uncle Eddie, he was an awful tease. And Daddy had trucks. He had these big cattle trucks he drove all the time. Eddie drove a truck for him. And he would come up and he liked to tickle us kids. And when I'd see him coming, well, I just didn't want him to tickle me, but he would just tickle us until we couldn't get our breath.
Oh, I guess it'd be my grandma Pankern because she was so kind and I really liked her. They used to come and see us. Even after we moved, they'd come and see us. I even went to their house sometimes and stayed, maybe not a week, but a while, a few days.
What kind of games did you play growing up?
Cowboys. Me and Butch played cowboys. We did. We had these, Butch don't remember it, but we had these little cowboy and cowgirl outfits with the gold guns and the holsters and everything, hats, and we played cowboys.
If you can find a picture of that, I'll make sure we work
There
it in.
is a picture someplace. Somebody's got a picture of me and him together in our little cowboy cowgirl outfit.
Baseball, had a big long yard and had enough room to have ball games.
And enough brothers and sisters to play? Make a team?
Yeah, we managed.
We played softball in the front yard on Sundays usually, and we played Monopoly.
Hide and seek.
Outside or inside?
Outside.
Totally different game, outside and inside.
What else? I don't know. Us little ones who used to hide things in the house. I can remember. Probably I know you was younger than I, so I don't know. Hide and seek in the house too. Hiding things and finding them. I think maybe Bucky, Ruthie, maybe.
Well, we played hide and go seek and hopscotch and checkers and things like that.
When you played hide and go seek, did you do a lot around the whole farm or just mostly in the house?
In the yard, we had a big yard.
Do you remember the softball?
Yeah, I do remember that. That was outside. And inside we played checkers, Chinese checkers. Some you probably never heard of. Pick-up sticks
Oh, yeah.
and jacks. We just had all those little games. An old maid.
Well, we played ball a lot, and we had an old building out back, and we threw the ball over that. We'd get on each side of it, and we'd throw the ball over to the other person. We called it Hanover ball, I think. And then we had croquet. We played a lot, and then we played checkers and Monopoly. And my dad loved horseshoes because he would always hit that ringer, and he was good at it.
I'd say going skating with the youth group from church.
Did you like ice skating or roller skating?
Roller skating.
Where was that at?
Bama. Was our skating rink. So it's the only thing we had to do.
When I was little, I liked to jump rope, liked to skate. I had a little pair of skates that I would skate down a little walkway by the cistern. Skated. I took them to school. Mm-hmm.
Well, I think my favorite thing was skating. I loved to skate.
Was it ice skating?
No, it was just roller skating.
Where did you roller skate at?
Well, we had concrete in the stable, and I would go out there a lot of times and roller skate where we had the cows. And then on Sundays, well, some of us would get together and go to Western and skate around the school.
I like to play the piano. I didn't know how to play it, and I sat down and I would pick out notes until I finally got to playing pretty good, I guess.
Okay. What was the favorite thing that you guys did for fun?
Wow, I don't know.
Did you have any fun?
Not much.
Not much fun, or not much that you can remember anyway.
A lot of work.
A lot of work.
Work
Okay.
milking cows, raising tobacco.
Well, that's the next question. Did you have family chores? And if so, what were they, and which was your least favorite?
Probably milking cows.
That was your least favorite?
Yeah.
Okay.
And it didn't seem to matter how old I got, it's still my least favorite.
Why? Why was that?
You're dedicated, morning and night. You have to be there to do the job. And if you're sick, you do it anyway.
Mm-hmm.
If you want to go somewhere, forget it.
Mm-hmm.
You got to do it.
Or there'd be no milk, right?
There'd be no milk and no monthly check.
There you go. All right.
Well, I had to help cook supper when I get home from school. I'd ask Mom if she had anything for me to do, and she'd say, same thing every night. You can peel potatoes. I didn't like that. But that's what I did.
So you were a potato peeler, huh?
Yeah. Unless she had slaw that needed made, and she asked me to cut up all that cabbage. That wasn't any better.
Did you have family chores? If so, what were they? Which was your least favorite?
Had to get wood and coal in for the stove.
What about clean the house or anything?
Yeah, I did that too.
Well, I had to carry in wood. Me and June was supposed to carry in the wood after we got home from school. And it took June a long time to get his clothes changed. So by the time that he got his clothes changed, well, I already had the wood packed in and piled up where it was supposed to be. And so he didn't have to do that. And my least thing done was washing dishes. I had to do a lot of dishwashing.
Maryland didn't have all of them. I helped carrying wood and also helped carrying fill the coal bucket. I can remember that, having to break the coal lumps to put them in the bucket. So I can remember that. Cleaning the house every week. You know, you dusted. We didn't vacuum. We didn't have vacuums, did we? Well, no, we didn't when I grew up, Linda. When you did, yeah.
We did.
Cleaning the house mostly.
Well, I had to go out in the field and work, chop tobacco, and pitch hay with a hay fork up on a wagon, and then I milked cows. That's some of the things I did.
So since you were one of the older ones, you kind of had to
Yeah.
had to do more work outside. Is that how it worked?
Yeah. And in the summertime, we'd go pick blackberries. I mean, all of us kids, Marilyn and everybody, we'd take our milk buckets and it was a pretty big farm. There was lots of blackberries out there. and Daddy would get us all in the car, and we'd drive out that big long ridge as far as he could drive, and then we'd all get out of the car, and Toots, I think she could pick more blackberries than anybody I ever saw. She would have her bucket filled in just a little while. And I didn't know, I never could outpick her.
Oh, I picked many a blackberry.
She said you were the best.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Is that
We
true?
used-
You were the best blackberry picker?
You know what we do? We pick big buckets of them, take them in, set them down. There they are, Mom. And she did everything else.
Yeah.
Made the jelly or whatever, or canned them. Things like that.
Like I said before, I don't really remember any chores that, since I was the baby. I didn't have to do anything.
Can you describe the meal times around the house?
Yes, my mom cooked. She cooked everything. And then we'd all get around the table. We all sat at the table and ate together.
Was it difficult when having that many people sitting around the table?
No, we all had a place to sit.
Did you have a specific spot that you
Yes,
sat
we
every
did.
time?
We had a big old table. And she just fixed all the dishes and set them on there. And everybody came in and went around the table. There was a place for everybody. And we all ate it at the same time.
Times where it's very nice is my mother would hustle around cooking and getting all the food on the table for everyone, and everyone sat down at the same time. Like Linda said, we had a meal and no snacks in between. You ate your meal or too bad, you know. And that's the way it was at our house.
We had a lot of beans and potatoes, I think, every day and every day and every day. and then we had a big round or oblong table, and we all sat at the table at the same time. And we had dinner and supper. Breakfast time, I think we ate as we got up in the morning. But we all sat together at dinner and supper every day.
Meal times, a lot of soup beans.
A lot of soup beans.
A lot of soup beans. Soup beans, fried chicken on Sundays, a lot of meatloaf. Usually it was around the big old table, you know, we all ate at the same time. We didn't straggle in and out like most people do today. Everybody sit down and ate at the same time.
Good meals.
Good meals.
Yeah, my mom made good stuff for what she had. Chicken, very popular. She raised her own chickens. I've seen her go out several times, catch a chicken and defeather it and all that stuff. Put it in the pan
Wow.
or the skillet.
And there's dinner.
Yep.
Did y'all sit around together and eat together? Or?
Yeah, pretty much. The ones that were at home, there's brothers and, well, mostly sisters. I don't even remember being there. Like Toots, Sally, and Marilyn.
Gone.
I never remember them living there.
Okay.
Junior, I don't remember him ever living there. But they were married and gone, I guess, when I was just little thing.
Mm-hmm. What did you do when you left home? How old were you when you left home?
Well, when I was 18, I went to college for a year,
Okay.
Asbury College. And after that I worked.
Okay.
it was during the war and a lot of things breaking up and everybody was getting jobs, and so that's what I would do. And then after I got a job, I just wasn't too interested in going back to school. I lived at a place called Esther Hall. It was run by a church, and we got our meals there. And we had a room.
You lived there for a while?
Oh, about 3 years.
Okay. Then what'd you do? Did you go get
Then
a
I moved to
place?
Hawaii.
Well, I went to Cincinnati, and I worked at some temporary jobs. I worked at American Book Company, and then I worked at Community Chest, and they wasn't for very long. And then I got a job at Bell Telephone Company, and it was down on 4th Street, and I lived on 9th and Walnut. We lived it was a place for young girls to get started. So I walked from 9th and Walnut down to 4th Street every day to my work.
I went to Cincinnati and I got a job at H&S Poe Company department store, but it was during Christmas, and I didn't work there very long, a couple months, 2 or 3 months. And then after Christmas, I got a job out at R.L. Polk Company, and I worked there until I got married in February. So I really didn't work that much out.
About how old were you when you got married?
I was 20.
Once I left home, I went to Cincinnati.
By yourself?
Mm-hmm.
What'd you do once you got here to Cincinnati?
Got a job.
Did you have an apartment? Did you live with anybody?
I stayed with Toots and Earl for a couple weeks. And then I moved to the YWCA. And then later on I got an apartment.
Who'd you work for? Do you remember?
Yes, I worked for Western Southern
Wow.
Life Insurance.
Yeah, they're still around, sure.
Mm-hmm. And then from there I went to General Electric.
What did you do when you left home?
What did I do when I left home? I went to Cincinnati, and I stayed with my sister Toots, and she was staying at the Y, and she let me come in and stay with her in her room until I found a job, and I found a job right away. First job was Crosley Motors out in Cumminsville. You probably know where that is, Paul. And I don't know. What did I do? I don't know. Just have fun, I think. And, that's what I did. And then I moved around quite a bit. Got my own room. Big deal, you know, the wine. So.
Well, I didn't really leave home.
You stayed.
After Bucky left, well, I pretty much took over everything. I was doing the milking, raising tobacco, and still going to school, really.
Yeah.
My last couple of years, I guess. And,
Okay. And then what'd you do after that?
Oh,
After you got out of school, did you?
well, I farmed for a while, and then I got a draft notice.
Oh, okay.
And in '66, I went into the Army,
Okay.
and I had sell all the cattle. Took a beating on that, thanks to Uncle Sam, and
Go to the Army.
I got back out in '68.
Oh, just before the war.
I started trucking then.
Okay.
I trucked for 31 years.
I went to Cincinnati, and my first job was with a place called GAC Finance Company.
What'd you do there?
I counted money and I don't remember. It was an office job. I don't really remember.
Were you involved in anything like church clubs or other activities? You said you played at church.
Yeah, I went to church all the time.
Did you do like Sunday school or Bible studies?
Yeah,
or?
I taught Sunday school some
Yeah.
little kids.
Yeah, we went to church every Sunday, and then we had youth groups, and we met, I think it was about every month, we met at the Aylmar Union. Had a lot of kids, and we had a lot of fun, played games and stuff. And
What?
then,
I'm sorry, go ahead.
and then I was in 4-H at school.
What did you do in that?
I sewed, and I got my first little apron that I made in 4-H club. And I learned to sew, and I loved that.
I like to sing. I sang at church sometimes. Do you remember, Linda?
I know, that's too little.
In the garden. I took piano lessons, but I didn't keep them up enough to learn how to play. I was too dumb. Sally knew it without taking lessons. So.
I went to church and I attended some of the youth meetings and yeah, that's about it.
I like to play, I like to sing, and I love the piano, but I was not blessed with any of those talents.
Were you involved in anything like church, clubs, or other activities? You mentioned youth group.
Church, youth groups, yeah.
When did you, was that like a weekly thing or?
Well, church was a weekly thing. I mean, we went to church every Sunday, and then the youth groups, I think they met once or twice a month. A lot of times we'd meet in somebody's house and have a meeting, and then food, social hour. That's pretty much it.
I wish I could play some. I always wanted to play an accordion, but I never had one, so I didn't learn to play that. And I thought it would be nice to know how to play guitar, and I didn't do that either. But I did play the piano. I taught myself, and I still play church because they don't have anybody else. So maybe someday they'll find somebody else. So far they haven't.
Were you involved in anything growing up, like church, clubs, other activities in
Yes,
the
we went
community?
to church ever since I was born. Every time the door was open, we went to church. On Sunday and on Wednesday night, we went to Bible study. And then we had youth group. Nice, really good youth group.
Oh, I peck around with guitar and peck around keyboard a little bit. That's it.
So unfortunately, we're not going to be able to interview everybody because Junior and Norman have passed on. Is there anything that you can tell us, anything about, just to kind of help people remember them? Any stories you remember about Junior or Norman? Anything like that? And ideally, this would be a good story.
Hint, hint.
not like where they got in trouble or anything, but
No.
what do you remember?
I remember Norman, he was always real quiet and since he was a kid, he was just a quiet person. Give you the shirt off his back.
I think somebody said he was your father's little buddy. In fact, I think that was.
Called him Pal.
Now Norman, at one time he operated a little store down around Peach Grove or down in that area somewhere.
Norman, he's pretty much a hot rodder. He'd run the heck out of a car.
He was
was a cute little fella. He had real black hair and black eyes, and he was a cutie.
But he was quiet.
Yeah.
He didn't have a lot of words to waste.
No.
Norman was Daddy's pal, and that's what his nickname was, pal. And when my dad was sick, well, Norman stayed right there with him. He sat right by his bed.
How old was he? How old was Norman?
He was probably about 12.
Oh, June was my buddy. He was he was always there, you know, when you needed something. He was one of those people, you know, that if you ever need anything, all you had to do is call him, tell him. And I remember him telling me one time, I ain't got no money to give you, but if you need anything else. You know, he took me and helped me buy my first car.
Mm.
And
What kind of car was it?
it was an old junker. It was an old Falcon. Nobody could drive me. But it was mine. And I remember him taking me and helping me get that car.
Junior was, well, he liked to tease the kids. I guess people get kind of mad at him because he teased the kids till he got them crying. But he was a good person.
Junior, he's 12 years older than me. I don't remember a lot about him. He liked his milk truck, I know that. He liked driving that milk truck.
Junior used to let me go with him to Brooksville at night when I was a teenager. I can remember, and they would have ball games at Brooksville School, and I could see him hurrying, getting ready for something, you know. And I'd say, "Where are you going?" And to Brooksville. I'd say, "Can I go with you?" And he'd go, "Well, I reckon so." And he would always take me to Brooksville. And I get to go to the ball game because usually we just went to church and school, and a ball game was really nice. And he would always let me go. And he would pick Norma up, and they would go. And then I wouldn't meet him at 10 o'clock in Brooksville. I had to go home because we had to be home by 11 o'clock at night. So that's my story. And I would like to say one thing, that I love my brother Junior and my brother Norman. And I miss them.